Hello and welcome back to the Football Manager Save with Le Havre. This will be the season finale, at least in terms of league games with Le Havre here. And obviously we are into the final two games now. So I'll show you what happened in the break since I don't know if we stopped with the loss to Caen or the game after the Paris. But yeah, we got the 2-0 loss to Caen. I think that's the first one we played and we responded. But yeah, it was with a close 2-1 win over Paris, because I remember talking about Jonathan Betroipa. He's still fast. He's completely lost his speed at this point. But yeah, that's probably a sad thing for him, as that was his main attribute. So our first game, enough talking about Jonathan Betroipa. He does not matter to Le Havre. Our first game after that was that big game against Auxerre. Might have spoiled the game slightly below if you saw. But yeah, it did happen to be a 1-1 draw. It was obviously rather important. They were the team trying to push us, as we were second, for automatic promotion. And we did go 1-0 up with Pite, and they did respond just for half time, which was a bit annoying. And they did get a late red card to Yatabare, which at that point I'm probably at least getting a draw there, which is arguably all I needed, providing I didn't collapse in the games afterwards. But winning it there would have basically wrapped it all up. Weren't able to do, which I think the board weren't too happy with. They're never happy when you don't take advantage of a man advantage and win a game. It was probably just enough for us there as a result we could get away with. Following that, though, we did beat Toulouse 2-1, which was a very important win. It wasn't, as you can see from the stats, it was certainly nothing pretty, but we did go 1-0 down, and at that point I might have been a bit worried, but somehow we did manage to pull it up with a goal from Abdelli and Pite. Pite's been very important in this kind of climax of the season, popping up with goals where most people haven't actually been able to, other than Jamal Tiare scoring as many as he has. And after that Toulouse game, we did beat Amiens 1-0. Again, was this Tiare? It was Cornette this time. I can't actually remember the goal itself, but nice to see him pop up, and more assured performance at the back. You can see from both holding midfielders and the centre backs and goalie did perform to make sure we get that clean sheet. And yeah, probably kind of ran away with that one as well. The stats were in our favour, but you can see from XG, and we didn't have bucket loads of shots. It wasn't like necessarily we definitely deserved to win, but when you defend that well, you always give yourself a chance, and run over the 1-0 win was important, as at that point, I believe, due to slip-ups from Auxerre, we are in fact already promoted. You can see a 9-point gap there with 2 remaining. It is insurmountable at this point. So we have actually gained promotion to the French First Division, which is great. At the end of the day, you see here from the club vision, we certainly weren't expected to. Only wanted us in the top half. They didn't actually want us definitely promoted till the end of the 2022-23 season. So we're about 2 years at this point ahead of schedule. That is great. At the end of the day, we are still remaining within the wage budget, and also we did pass our French Cup objectives. So yeah, it's a great job all round to be at this point already. What obviously we do need to take into account now is how we get this team here ready for French League, Liga football. There are some players that will probably hold their own, like these holding midfielders. I don't know how much Fontaine's got in terms of age. Probably you might have to play a starting/squad role depending if we get somebody else in. Lecal will probably definitely hold out for another year for us. Meras will definitely be playing, probably for Fana in goal. A pair of these centre-backs, I'm not exactly sure who, probably Sam Hughes will definitely be starting, as he does have the most potential of the bunch, still could get to 4.5. And then people like Abdelli may continue to start, Pite, and obviously Jamal Tiare will be given a chance up front with his 30 goals. But yeah, you see Lialan Gomez may get involved as well with his 16 out on loan, and he's now a 3-star, so he's certainly knocking on the door if Jamal Tiare does not perform. But yeah, we're going to the game now against Valenciennes, who are mid-table, so it's just kind of these games at this point are nothing games. Obviously, we could still win the title over Caen, but I think at this point, unlikely they would have to, really lose both games. They could lose and draw one, but yeah, it's probably not going to be quite possible. They could technically draw them both, but I didn't want their players. I wanted their schedule. There we go. Just to see who they've got left. Grenoble at home, 14th place, and bottom place Dunkirk. Yeah, I think it's already past our hopes now. So for this game, I have decided to, I think, rotate it a little bit. Obviously, they want me to start Jamal Tiare, but I believe I am going to give Aliou a go up front in this one. As, yeah, I mean, he's been handy for us. Deserves a little chance. I forgot we also have Romero, so he's probably someone that will perhaps start next season. Only 3-star, but can get to 4 if we can just work out the right role. We might have to change the tactics entirely. Yeah, then that may be the case. But yeah, again, it's his first game against Valencia, and obviously it's not a big deal what happens, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. Well, that's not how you want to start him. Potential foot injury for Cornette and has to get subbed in only the 6th minute. Certainly not ideal. In the day when you look at him, he's not like a player for the future and probably won't be too important to us next season. He may actually be shipped out, but you don't want to see anyone get injured at the end of the day. His contract, I think, is also running out, so he probably actually will just drift to a contract end and leave for nothing. But yeah, that's not the way you want to kind of end the season. You don't want to see anyone get injured. Hopefully we can pull through the rest of this game with no more injuries. Especially, pardon me, especially to anyone important going into next season. We have a highlight here now. There's Abdelli. Brings it on to Lucao, chucks it out to Meras on the left with a load of space. Abdelli does actually make his way into the box to stick his head on it, but would have been some header from about 14 yards to beat the keeper from there, and it wasn't quite good enough. We're going into another highlight here. Highlight, if I can get that in my mouth. So they're moving it around the back four. They decide to chuck one forward, which Mayembo is alert to. Wins it back for us straight away. Hughes now, Macau, Koulibaly up to Brazil. He's come on for Cornette. Central now to Abdelli, but he's dealt with very quickly. Fontaine does find a nice little ball out to Koulibaly if he can get a bit of space for a cross or perhaps dart in the box himself, which isn't very like him. They seem to love a slide tackle at the moment. They seem very alert to everything, to be fair to them. And that's a very poor pass, which they may take advantage of here as they one through ball. And I wouldn't know exactly how to pronounce that. Gets through on goal for Fofana. Does get behind it for us. And he's been a generally capable keeper over this season. A lot of one-on-ones he's saved. And obviously we wouldn't have the defensive record we have without someone like him in goal. So he's certainly going to be given a chance at the level above. He also has quite a bit of potential in him too. I don't know if it's 4-star or 4.5, but yeah, he'll certainly be given a chance for next season. As for Gorgolan as sub-goalie, I know he's quite old, so that might not be something that's able to continue. But I know a club like Le Havre always have a wealth of young players ready to kind of fill in as reserves if needed. So whether we just look in-house for a youth kind of replacement to sit on the bench as our sub-goalie, or we look out to get one, I'm not sure. It's kind of always hard and non-exciting to make transfers for the bench, as it's not really ones you want to be doing. You always want to be improving that first 11 and making marquee signings. You don't want to be signing like 3-star players on the cheap to sit there and not play too often on the bench. So yeah, whether it's in-house or from elsewhere, we might have to look at replacing sub-goalie. But yeah, not too much happening in that first half. But as I said, really at this point, if the season drifts to an end, there's nothing to be ashamed of. We've got what we wanted done. And at the end of the day, the board didn't even expect us to pull off something like this. So we've overachieved regardless of what happens in these 2 games here. Pite does struggle or is struggling to have any kind of impact on this game currently with his 6.1. So I could just bring Bonnet on, but part of me wants to move Aliou. Been given a chance up front and not been doing too much. Back to attacking left mid, and we'll give Tiara a chance of hopefully extend his goal tally even further for this season. I believe there was a record set by I forgot who it is, but I think it was Honu, someone who's been in around French football for a long time. Quite a kind of stalwart over the years. I think he even played for PSG. A lot of goals in French football over the years. Might have the record for that. Not Honu. He's someone who plays now for Stade Rennes. Horao, I think is what he's called. That was it. I think he holds the record something like 32. I don't know if Tiare has already beat that with cup competitions or whatever. Judging by 30, he might not have. So we're going to try and give him a chance to maybe beat that here. Yeah, that's to be seen if it will be possible. Fontaine will come off as he is tired as well, and potentially I think was that, I can't see if, or remember if it said rest or injured, but either way he's going to get a break here. They're probably the only subs we make for the moment. It doesn't seem like we're going to have any kind of effect on this game, as it does seem to be drifting to an end. And yeah, the kind of form in the second half of the season hasn't quite lived up to the first half. Might quickly look at that after this game. Maybe shows, yeah, either the first tactic I know kind of lost its way a bit. Hang on, we do have a highlight here. And the second one we've tried to move on to maybe hasn't been effective in its entirety either. It's enough to get the job done, but yeah, maybe not ideal. Thierry does get a 31st goal of the season as he sticks Zed in across, which he's done so often. He was perhaps a late winner here, which is just Jamal Thierry in a nutshell. At the end of the day, winning games for us, scoring headers, just being the man to get it done for us pretty much at every interval. But yeah, because of the form in the second half of the season, both the first tactic perhaps falling apart as well as not really the second one falling apart, maybe the second one not actually being that good. We may have to look to an entirely new shape or idea going into the French League, especially as we're probably not going to have as much of the ball as we've had in this season in Ligue 2. So whether it's kind of maybe looked on counter-attacking and understanding we won't have as much of the ball, or what exactly, I don't know. I'll have to consider all of this in the off-season. But yeah, they get a nice little late win against Valenciennes. As we see, it is now not possible, as whereas the Caen game, they get a 1-0 win like us against Grenoble. The chance to win the league has already gone. So yeah, this last game really is a kind of nothing game, unfortunately. I mean, it's anticlimactic, but in a good way. Like, the games in this episode haven't actually meant as much as they look like they might do at one point, but it is because we've already handled business early. It would have been nice, as you say, or as I say, to get involved in a title battle with Caen right at the end, but yeah, at the end of the day, we just fell short of expectations of keeping up pace with them. As you see, a lot of green circles and yellows. Obviously, we didn't lose until this game against Auxerre, about what looks like 15 games into the season, possibly slightly more. December went really well. January also rather well, besides that French Cup game. February was okay, but you start to see a few too many draws in there. March wasn't a great month. April, I mean, to be fair, I might be overplaying it a bit, but I think where our first half of the season we just had that massive unbeaten run, probably what makes me feel like the second half of the season fell off a bit. But regardless, we'll probably have to change the way we play, just because of the quality of football we will be moving on to. But yeah, I'll see you now for the last game against Guingamp. I thought I'd start recording on the day before the game, as what I was on about before I was popped up here is Guilherme Joral, that his record he has now actually levelled at 31 goals. So just one more in this final game would be enough to beat it. This is what I was on about in terms of his record, like 94 at Young Boys when he was there, 3 at Bordeaux, like 38 at Paris Saint-Germain, 33 at Le Havre. Like, he did, 202 in 438 games is just, he was a goal scorer at the end of the day. Not like one to go down in history, besides clearly Le Havre's history here. But generally, was a very good player. So, or for the level he was usually playing at. Yeah, Jamal Thierry in that final game does has a chance with one goal to put himself out on his own, if he does manage to do it. Something I also wanted to show you that I didn't show before was actually the finances they gave us. They gave us 4.6 mil to work with for next season. So he's already moved. The main reason that moved is or the main reason, not the rain reason. I think I had to alter the scouting budget slightly, as I'm a bit trigger happy with pressing keep scouting, for example, for a player like this when they pop up. To the point where, I basically ran the budget into the ground. So I needed a little bit more to scout players for next season. There's already a few players I've looked at getting. You can see 4 in the incoming there. So it's not 4 already definitely done, but 4 that I'm trying to get done. So we're already looking at next season transfer-wise. So the budget is already starting to move. But they're mostly just players to add another level to us. A couple are to add a bit more depth. It wasn't like it was a position I specifically had to go for. Places like left wing, we already have Pite and Cam, we already have Abdelli. But places that you need a bit of an option in, because we haven't always got depth there, essentially. Like, for instance, if I want to not use Abdelli, you're looking at using Basquet or Fontaine. Fontaine I'd rather play in holding mid. There's Bonnet as well, but so Bonnet is now 34, so I don't know if he'll stand the test of time next season or if he'll even be here. Then who was the other one? Basquet. Yeah, he is of age, but nothing too exciting with him. So Basquet is someone who probably will switch between maybe the very occasional Cam, but mostly kind of filling in for these two in games where they're tired or injured, or maybe just lesser games in the cup, although you don't get too many of those in France. Yeah, just trying to add a tiny bit of depth, but also a bit of quality, I believe. Right back, someone we looked at, and I like Koulibaly again, full of potential, but the right back I'm looking at bringing in is certainly something. Yeah, we'll try and get towards the start of this Guingamp game here. I will have to make a couple of changes to the team through some last-second injuries I received. Apparently we're looking at Dembele. I'm not, but now they've said it, I'll give them a little look at. I want to stretch that scouting budget even further. This is a scout we've just brought in here, so hopefully we can get onto this game. That's the only problem with me starting the recording early is I'm now waiting for the game to start if we can get there. But that was the little thing I did promise Hughes that he'd play the role of central defender, which he's actually been playing ball playing centre back. So I've lied to him a little bit, but hopefully with the promotion and constant starts, he might let that slide. Been into the final game of the season here against Guingamp, but I'll have to make a couple changes here. Hughes should be right. He did pick up like a brief 1 or 2 day injury before the start of the game. Probably put Bazile out on the right here. We will give Tiare a chance to break that record we were on about. We move Toure and Romero onto the bench. Probably neither of them will come on just to fill out the bench essentially for this final game, just to get through it. But yeah, final game of the season now against Guingamp. Already promoted, obviously it doesn't mean much, but we'll see how it goes nonetheless. An early highlight here, literally the 2nd minute of the game. Meras does win the ball from the throw-in, as you do a lot on Foot Manager. Give possession away on throw-ins. But they're just moving it around the back now, try and move it forward, but Miembo is alert to that. Shout out to Bazile, looks back to the ever-trusty Lecal. Plays into our playmaker here, Abdelli. Out on the left to Pito, really try and get to the pylon to put something in. He puts it back to Meras. It's a great header from Bazile, and 2nd minute of the game, already 1-0 up. I'm surprised actually Bazile scored 9. He's an alright little player, but I'll certainly take a 9-goal return from him. You see it again. We get into the box to pull it back to Meras, and he puts in one of his crosses. He has actually been called up to the Turkey team, so I think that's probably for the Euros. So as probably our only call up to the Euros, I'm hoping it goes alright for him. We have another early highlight. Pite whips in a corner. Which is cleared. Will Fury get there? Yes, he will. It's looking like they'll probably counter us here as Fury just runs through the heart of our team, gives it a... Well, that's not a name I wanted to try and do in a rush. But again, that's what I meant about Fofana. When those one-on-ones do seem to come, he does seem to do a great job of saving them. So much so we have actually rewarded him with a new contract. As I say that, we concede, of course, as I talk about giving the goalie a new contract. But yeah, regardless of that goal going in, he certainly deserves it. He's had a very good season taken over from Gorgolan. Yeah, have been paid back here at 1-1, but it's not a big deal, as there is nothing really to play for us at this point. There's another highlight. At least it's a busy last game. Cow out wide here, probably a bit of a strange position for him to be in. Fontaine chucks it to Matt. He might get a shot off here. He may look at crossing instead. He gets to the byline. I don't know what that was an attempt of, but gets very fortunate. Does get the ball across, and there's Abdelli on the edge of the 6-yard box. He's not going to miss from there for his 6th for the season. And he's been a very good player at the end of the day for this team. I think initially our wing play tactic didn't allow for him to play in the cam role that he probably prefers. I think he was stuck out on the right, but when we did decide to move him inside as we changed formation to a 4-2-3-1 instead of a 4-1-2-3, I guess you'd call it, or like a 4-3-3 of a CDM really. Yeah, he kind of did make that cam role his own, and yeah, kind of repaid our trust in him with the formation change, allowed him to play there with his performances. So yeah, good all round from Abdele and the entire team really. As we talk our way into another highlight, it means less clipping for me to do at the end when I'm editing it. Yeah, I'm not here trying to save myself work. I just ramble on a bit at the end of the day. as this half will probably come to half time, as it does, and we should be 2-1 up going into it as we are. So yeah, a good first half. You see a lot of good performances from the goalie, a lot from the midfield. Maris has had a very good game so far, I think. Set both goals up, so yeah, busy last game. Last game with goals, the last game we're currently winning, so can't complain about any of that. The other corner here though, Robocha throws it in. Again, threatening from a corner. They don't score this one, and we'll make some late changes here, just out of interest. Hughes has actually struggled apparently, so we'll give young Torre a go. He's a player filled with promise, so maybe make subs to both centre backs actually and swap them over maybe. Just get 2.5 on both, why not? We take Pite off Aliu. Perhaps could have played some people that might have been there last game in a half shirt, although currently I'm not sure completely on who that will be, so I'll probably just leave it as it is for now. Just those 3 subs will do. Late highlight here now in the 82nd. Into Basile, throws a cross in. But eventually falls to the feet of Aliu. Does have Meras to support him. Does decide to go back to Torre, however. Absolutely lumps one towards Tiare, but doesn't come off, and they're now bringing it forward with Fofana. Thinking maybe a dodgy position to pass it back in. Tiare may look to pounce, but didn't now, as they've got Pele, of all players, drives from range, but yeah, doesn't threaten Fofana at all, doesn't really look moved. As it blends right into another highlight here. Play out from the back. Torre does seem to love chucking the ball forward. He's not much of a ball playing centre back, that is why I swapped him to central defender. Gets into Tiare, maybe that was the moment to take the record on his own. Again, wouldn't to be, I might actually, these last 5 minutes, just make him advance forward, see if he can take advantage of it like that. But if not, obviously he's equalled the record and is the reason we did get promoted at the end of the day. All these boys have helped, of course, but Tiare returning 31 goals is the main thing that's turned us from like a mid-table side, maybe trying to attack the bottom of the playoffs, to a team that almost ended up winning the title, but also managed to secure promotion with 2 games in hand, so 2 games left to play. So yeah, he's been the focal point of us this season. He may not get the goal he probably wanted to make the record his own, but doesn't mean much in the grand scheme of things. The main thing that matters as we win this final game here is that we did get promoted at the end of a very good season. See the final league table here. We did actually only finish a point behind Carners. What did they do? Actually lost 2-0 to Dunkirk, who can't quite avoid relegation themselves. It will be Paris who end up in that playoff spot as they get absolutely battered by JCO to try and stay up in that. But we do lose Dunkirk and Paolo. So we lose. We're not a part of this league anymore, as you see right there. End up being a 14-point gap over Auxerre in the end, who really didn't threaten us at all for that final spot. It will be Auxerre, Guingamp and Clermont in the playoff spots to try and get promoted themselves. So probably backing anyone, it would probably be Guingamp, just simply based on form. I think they challenged or got more towards Auxerre more than Auxerre pulling away from them. So maybe I'll back Guingamp, but regardless, they'd have to, I believe, beat the team 3rd bottom in Liga, which is automatically going to be a difficult task for them. So yeah, that may not happen. But yeah, enough about that. We did get promoted ourselves, and that is the main thing. We come into our end of season review here. We look at the new arrivals. Is Aldemir Pite, probably the best new arrival we had. Ended up playing 34 games for us. 7 goals, 9 assists. Kind of made that left wing spot his own. Very important board, supposedly. And the arrival's not one that I brought in, but yeah, was handy at the start of the season. Was our first choice right back, but did eventually lose that spot to who was it? Brain's gone. Oh, Koulibaly. And Mahmood here, I think we actually sold, so it had nothing really to do with us. Sam Hughes, again, bringing him in January was a very handy addition and kind of locked down the centre-back spot. Had him on low wage, it was a low fee, it was just kind of the perfect transfer really. Romero in the games he did get to play did get a couple injuries, maybe overpaid for him slightly, even though 170k didn't sound like overpaying at all, but certainly will be a part of this squad next year and was pretty handy. Rahimi again, yeah, I don't think we used at all. Aliou got some games, especially off the bench, 22 appearances as a sub, got a couple goals, so with his age, he will be here for quite a while, see if he can make good of any promise he has. Cornette here actually was probably better than you thought someone would be at kind of like 2.5 star. Again at 27, I don't know how much of a part he'll play next season, probably not much. He might end up going. I think he was one of those on a contract that's about to end, so yeah, maybe he won't be involved at all, but I appreciate the bit of work he did for us this season. And Nolan and Bemba, you see, come on 19 times a sub, was really only ever going to be a sub. He never really had starter quality, but he might potentially stick around for next season just to fill a bench spot. As we look to this season's results, did they expect us to finish top half? Did they finish second? I'd like to bump up that home attendance, and I imagine in the top league that will hopefully be the case. If they were here, we did actually have the best goal difference in the league, and that doesn't surprise me with how we were scoring early on. You see here a lot of threes in these early games. Won a lot of games scoring 3 actually. Yeah, very good start and a very good end. It's basically what managed to secure us promotion rather easily in the end. Looked a moment to remember we do have our biggest win right there apparently. Guingamp the first time we played him, a Jamal Tiare hat-trick, nothing surprising there. Another match, remember, was another 3-0 win. This is what I meant about scoring 3. We did just seem to score 3 all the time. And our goal of the season was supposedly in that game. Maybe we could have a quick look at it quick, if it's easy to be found. Generate the match report. It's not something actually I think I've looked back at before. So Delhi does have it here, moves it back to Lacau, Koulibaly. Just great football, and they gets fit Bazile, and he's a good bottom corner finish. I guess it was just the quality of football as well as the nice finish into the bottom corner is what they're on about. So yeah, it's certainly a good goal. It could perhaps be a contender for goal of the month. Maybe it's not like a goal of the season for the entire league contender, but it's certainly a good goal and one people would remember. The finances here, the reputation supposedly stays the same and nothing new there, but all of these are upwards arrows. I guess that's a good thing. As for shirt sales, I'm not surprised with Tiare, but yeah, all of these selling well. None of these surprised me, and Tiare being top of the table for that. Yeah, probably how I expected. You see how we lined up. Probably was our most common lineup at the end of the day. See, Sam Hughes didn't quite play enough in the second half of the season to take the spot off Ersoy, but these were the main guys. We were generally playing a gegenpress. But yeah, you see the fixtures and appearances here. Cornette did play the least, but everybody else was pretty much a stalwart. Koulibaly actually scoring 5 from right back is pretty impressive, but that was assist actually, my bad. Yeah, these were the main lineup, and what a job they did at the end of the day. We do actually win Manager of the Year in 2020. I think that was only for like the months remaining in 2020. We didn't get it for like the end of this entire season. Fans play season goes to Fontaine, and they was just, it's kind of what you expect. The fans seem to love the ones that play every week and remain consistent, and that's exactly what Fontaine did. Young player season, there were probably perhaps a couple candidates. Koulibaly, I'm not surprised, did get it, although you probably could look at Fofana in goals if they consider him young enough, I'm not sure. Final the season probably, yeah, was Sam Hughes, although Pite probably also stood a chance at that. I'd probably say Pite myself, but I can see why they'd say Sam Hughes. Obviously, we saw goal of the season. Tiare scoring 31 again was an absolute joke. Pite here with 9 assists, and I'm not surprised Tiare was player of the match 10 times at the highest average rating. Most passes completed per 90 was Fontaine. That's what you mean. He was just in midfield making it tick all the time. And here's your record breakers. Obviously, we saw that 31 was enough to break the record. Fofana actually did break most clean sheets per player in the season, so maybe that right there was enough for him to be young player of the season. But obviously, it did go to Koulibaly. Yeah, and I'd maybe tweak these rewards slightly myself. Or awards, not rewards. This ain't foot champs. But yeah, Player of the Match awards, obviously he got his 10, that supposedly is also a record. 9 yellows, apparently it's the worst discipline. And most league outside player, he's now got 405, Bono, because he's probably played his last for us. So I appreciate the service he's actually done for Havre over the years. But yeah, that will be the season review right there as we look through these final few things. Maybe have a look at the analyst report. So you're aggressive and clinical, that's what you want to be up front, and quiet and impenetrable in defence. That was pretty much perfect. Our XG and expected points were a lot more than, well, actual goals and actual points were above the XG and expected points. Although expected points position would put me first and I was second, so we were only a point shy of Khan anyway, but again, it's nothing to be ashamed of. Winning the league would have been very impressive, and at the end of the day, we didn't need to. What they expect for me next year, fight brave against possession, I'm very happy to do that. I'll do what I can as they understand themselves. It'll be tough, so we just simply accept that. Squad's all happy. Probably a meeting where I can briefly discuss plans for next season. There won't be much. Work out exactly what I've done here. Maybe this, they won't like it. Yeah, some will be hurt, and that was perhaps a bit risky. People offending, so I maybe didn't manage as well, but it is what it is. So I probably knocked their morale doing that, yeah. But it's hard. It is what it is. I'm not too heartbroken by it. What are our weaknesses, supposedly? They'll probably mention a lot about the quality of depth, so that is something they will definitely be trying to improve, especially for the league above. Yeah, the squad needs a lot of work, but we'll do that coming for next season. So yeah, don't know exactly when I'll come back. It might be the start of the friendlies. Then I'll show you what kind of transfers we've managed to make in the meantime, if we do. But yeah, it's been a very interesting first season. Obviously, we've definitely overachieved, but more so the series obviously been a stop-start. At first, it was without my face right here and post-commentary, and we obviously developed to live commentary and with my face. Obviously choppy at times for various reasons. I think I've finally got to the end of it now. The only thing really left maybe to improve is the voice qualities. I can now no longer use a mic thanks to my audio jack, so I'll have to maybe work something out for that. But for anyone who did stick around for the entire season, it is a big thank you. As obviously I did stop it partly for the season myself and brought it back. So yeah, I didn't expect anyone to stick around. So if anyone has, you're an absolute trooper, especially through all the poor quality in amongst it as well. So sticking through the poor quality for me being lazy and dropping it, thank you very much. Hopefully you'll return for the second season with Havre, which I don't know when it'll be brought to you, but maybe in a week or so's time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.